Hello and welcome to another episode of Talks with Arun on health and wellness. We have Arun with us to answer our queries around some of the most pressing health concerns that we all face these days. Now Arun, first of all, thank you for being here. Now to our question, and this is especially important for our women viewers, that is Poly-cystic Ovarian Syndrome, PCOS for short. How can yoga help?
Okay, that's a great question. Simply because many women in the big cities of India and definitely all over the world are facing a chronic medical issue. I came across this medical term more than 6 years ago, and that's when we started doing a program specifically for women who have this problem, Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. It also used to be called Polycystic Ovarian Disorder. And what it is that women face many symptoms like excessive hair growth on the body, irregular periods, weight gain, mood swings, and inability to conceive, many different issues because of cysts which are showing up in the ovaries. Now the thing to understand before I get into the things to do list that yoga can suggest, it's also necessary to understand that yoga and modern medicine, or yoga and medical therapy, any kind of medical therapy, are completely different from each other. So the diagnosis that a woman brings to a yoga class or a yoga program from a medical standpoint first has to be understood from a different perspective, which is the perspective of holistic science or a traditional science like yoga. Many people expect, or many people imagine, that just like allopathic medicine or medical treatment, maybe yoga can offer something specifically for the ovaries, specifically for the uterus, specifically for the female reproductive system. So when somebody talks to me about this medical issue, what I first do is to educate and start explaining the role of yoga and holistic science, and then get into the activities that the person can do to reverse this medical problem. So yoga is a science of health. It is not a science of combating disease. And in yoga we want to know not what the symptoms are. For example, excessive weight gain, or mood swings, or an inability to conceive. Those are, according to me, according to somebody who teaches yoga and who's been teaching for a very long time, these are only symptoms. The real matter is lying somewhere in the background. What is the problem? What is the source of the problem? Why does the woman have cysts in the ovaries in the first place? I always check with the woman, how can we attribute specifically the cysts in the ovaries to weight gain, or the fact that you have irregular periods and that's because of the cysts? Because somebody who doesn't have cysts can also have irregular periods. Somebody who doesn't have cysts in the ovaries can also be having excessive weight. So that's the first way to look at and understand a current medical issue which is chronic. But from a yoga perspective, we have to question it. We have to understand maybe the larger picture. We also have to know that we are dealing with a 5,000-year-old science. And in that time, unlike modern times, which is a medical system which is now providing a language called Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome, yoga doesn't have this language. On the other hand, yoga suggests that you can get good health, and good health also includes every organ in the body. So then, according to yoga, what could be the problem? Now that is actually quite simple to explain, but a little difficult to understand. Modern women are definitely in a different generation compared to their mothers, their grandmothers, and the women who came before them. The women are going through extreme amounts of stress. And we now know, even from a modern medical perspective, that stress is causing a breakdown of the human body. And that is what starts to generate many kinds of autoimmune disorders, a pre-diabetic condition, and cysts in different parts of the body. There is a direct correlation between the emotional state of a woman and a resulting biological issue. So what this means is something very simple. The woman is stressed out, and she may or may not know that she's under stress, but she's definitely handling many, many more portfolios than 2 generations ago. She's handling her career, she's handling family, she's handling the outdoor and indoor work. She has many responsibilities which she's handling alone. We're also looking at nuclear families. There is no joint family system in many of the cities that we are looking at PCOS. The community that was there to support a woman in her earlier days is no longer existing for a modern woman. So this then puts a lot of pressure on her biological body. The next thing to understand is that our diets have changed as well. Our food, the food that we eat, has also changed a lot. Not only has the food become more corrupted, which means that there is more influence of things like genetic modification and insecticides and pesticides and so on in the food, but also the fact that we are eating different kinds of things from, let's say, 30, 40, 50 years ago. जहाँ पे घर का खाना होता था, where earlier people used to eat home cooked food. Today we can order food 3 times a day, 7 times a week, 30 times a month. So this option is also giving us the kind of physical problems that we have today. So diet is also a very important factor in the genesis of PCOS, and we need to understand that diet can also play a very important role in the reversal. The third important pillar in understanding PCOS is physical activity, and this is also quite easy to understand that there has been a sea change in the last 30 to 40 years in the amount of activity that a modern woman engages in is very different from, let's say, her grandmother did. Being active doesn't mean exercising a lot. Being active doesn't mean we have to get in the 10,000 steps. Being active doesn't mean going to the gym. But being active really means that you're physically and mentally active from a health point of view. So there are 3 factors now, according to yoga, which we have to look at to come to a solution for the problem, to come to a resolution of PCOS. How can a woman get her health back? The first pillar is lifestyle. A certain set of habits is leading to tremendous amount of stress, which is then causing the breakdown of the biological body. The second factor is a change of diet, which is again resulting in biological changes. And third is the lack of appropriate activity. So then we now look at the things to do list, which yoga would suggest as the changes that are required to bring about good health for the woman. The first and foremost is yoga suggests that a person should be vegetarian. And in modern times, there is one more recommendation that I make, which is to reduce and, if possible, completely discontinue the consumption of milk and milk products. One of the things that has been proven by modern science is that animal protein is injurious to health after a certain point. And we have to also look back at thousands of years of human evolution, where human beings have always been having a high carbohydrate and low protein diet. This is the ideal diet for women who want to achieve good health. And this is also specifically for an Indian audience, but also definitely for people around the world. It's very important to have a calorie light diet, which means that if a person can have a diet which is 1500 calories or less, that's ideal. In which case, you will have to reduce the consumption of oil and butter and ghee, which is clarified butter, to a bare minimum, and if possible completely remove it from the diet, and have a diet which is consisting largely of whole grains, vegetables, fruits and cereals. It's also very important that the woman doesn't have packaged food on a regular basis. This will bring the calorie consumption down to about 1500 calories or less per day. The second thing to look at is what are the changes in daily habits that she can undertake, which can bring about a change in her PCOS condition. One of them is to have an early dinner and a late breakfast. So what in modern times is called as intermittent fasting. Have a dinner by 6 or 6:30 and have your breakfast by 9:30 or 10 o'clock in the morning. This will give about 14 to 15 hours of rest for the digestive system. Better the digestive system, better the absorption of nutrition, and better the absorption of nutrition, better the body takes care of itself. The underlying theme of all yoga practices, whether it is to do with diet or lifestyle changes or with yoga practice, is that the body heals itself, provided you give it a chance to do so. So the underlying theme is rest. So when we give the digestive system a rest, the body will heal itself. The second thing is activity. I don't know of a better method of achieving good health with all my years of yoga experience than to do yoga practice every day. And I recommend a regular practice of the Sivananda yoga system, 60 to 90 minutes a day. I usually say 90 minutes a day, yoga shows the way. Even if you do 30 minutes of yoga practice 7 days of the week, you'll start to see that your health is becoming better and better. Your skin starts to glow. The unnaturalness of the body starts to regularize. You seem to start to get normal periods. All of this just because you're practicing asana, pranayama, surya namaskar and relaxation. The girl also must learn how to relax. So part of the activity would be to learn how to rest, how to relax. So in yoga there are many methods. One of them is of course to do yoga nidra or long relaxation. So every day if the woman is practicing either meditation or shavasana, that would really help to bring down the stress and stress levels. And the last thing is how to change those habits which are causing stress. So the practice of yoga itself, that is the regular practice of the 60 minutes or the 90 minutes yoga class, would bring about a change in behavior. It would bring about a change in attitude. There will be a reduction of high levels of emotion, especially negative emotions. Fear, anxiety and worry will go away. She will start to sleep better. Mood swings will reduce. And the incessant need to be occupied, the mind being occupied with different things will start reducing, and that will bring about a sea change. So where you're specifically looking at the solution to cysts in the ovaries, yoga and holistic science, as you can see, is looking at a more contextual approach where we are looking at the health of the person rather than the health of the uterus, and that is good for all of us. It is good for the person because the person's overall health, not just the health of the uterus, will improve. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
And that concludes another episode of Talks with Arun on Health and Wellness. I hope this episode helped you in answering few of your questions and put you on path of wellness. If you like this episode, do press the like button and don't forget to share it with your friends, family or anyone who can benefit from the same. And don't forget to subscribe. If you have additional queries, post them in the comment box and we'll be more than happy to address them in our future episodes. Till then, stay well. Namaste.